he is back. A lot of people were kind of, despite the fact that he's the bad guy in this, a lot of people were gutted by the fact that he was shot and it appeared that he was killed at the end of season one. And now, after waiting so long, because a lot of people were thinking, how are they going to be able to top that now that Lamar's gone? Who could they have to top this character? Now, we see this episode and he is back and he wakes up at the end. So that raises the question now, how will Lamar being alive affect the outcome of this season? How is it going to affect the storylines that we've seen set up in this episode? And just one of the things that I observed, before I get to you both, I observed the fact that there was that scene where Meech is trying to kind of unify people in the streets so that he can sell the drugs and be more appealing to K9. And he actually brings some of the people from, I believe it was from Lamar's side of town of the city to his store or the base or whatever. And they have this face-off. They even have a fight in the store and everything, but then they have a face-off and they have a discussion about working together, So I'm wondering how Lamar being alive is going to affect that now, because, he might go back to those old crew, his old friends, his old crew and stuff, and cause some trouble with Meech. So that's pretty interesting. But also the fact, that he is in hospital means that he might be under, government watch. So it might kind of restrict what he can do. So it's going to be interesting to see where they take the whole thing. But Dana, your mic is unmuted right now, so I want to hear your thoughts on Lamar and how you think it's going to affect this show. And I know that you've seen a little more than we have, so do be careful, but also
I will be careful. I will say this: Lamar again? Thanos let nothing stop him. Do you think that he cares about the police and arresting him? Even if he may not physically may be able to get out, I think Lamar still has the communications and the channels open to have other people do his bidding for him. And I do feel that fear is stronger than anything else. And once other people in his crew realize he is not dead, that whole situation with teaming up with the Flenories could easily be put out. I think they fear him more than anything. Remember, we had that whole thing, is it better to be feared than to be loved? And right now, it seems that the Flenories kind of come at you more with love situation than as opposed to fear. Usually if you want to get rid of the other guy, you just have a big shootout, you call it a day. Oh, they're dead. Yay. But with this, it's like, I want to welcome you with open embrace, and that's cool. But is love going to stop that bullet from hitting me? So I think that Lamar and his tactics are going to pull away whatever kind of unity that may have happened or will happen in the future from happening. Also, I believe that Lamar is someone who, when he's focused, and I kind of feel that he knows who shot him. He knows what went on in the previous season, and he's going to enact his revenge again. So how that ends up setting up business in the future, it may end up being a repetitive situation where Lamar is back. We always have to look out, have the eyes in our back of our heads just to make sure that someone isn't peeking in the corner. If it's not Lamar itself, then whether or not it's Pookie in them who's acting on behalf of Lamar. So, yeah.
Yeah, interesting take. I guess he's, it's not going to be like Lamar is awake, now he's back on the streets. So there is definitely going to be a process, I think, to him actually getting back into the action. So the fact that you said, others might act on his behalf and things like that, that definitely makes sense a little bit. And he might operate from the shadows a little bit. But yeah, great thoughts there. So I definitely want to hear what Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. has to say. So go ahead and let us know what you think, Rich.
Great takeaways and great question. What I really like about this is that, as you alluded to, Gary, you said that Detective Bryant, obviously, they have him under watch, and no one knows that he is alive except for, Detective Bryant and the other detective. They know this. But what I find interesting is that this first episode once again reiterated how obsessed Detective Bryant is at getting his hands on Meech. That's why I think he will be willing to let things slide and let Lamar does whatever he needs to do, just so long as he gets to Meech, because that's who he wants to take down now. And again, as was said in Dana's interview so well, is that you understand why Detective Bryant is against Meech, because his partner got killed. We saw that last season. We also saw that the other individual that he gave up and said, this is somebody that y'all need to look into, B. Mickey killed that guy. So it makes perfect sense that the code of how you're supposed to act has been broken, and now you want to get revenge. So that's why I said I believe he will be willing to let Lamar operate any way he wants to operate, just so long as he gets the opportunity to take down Meech. The other point I want to also mention is why this is such a smart thing to bring this character back into the fold is because, as I said earlier, they introduce you to K9. What more exciting storytelling can you have where both Terry and Meech have to take down K9 and Lamar? I think that is an excellent way to set this up. And again, because Terry is out now, he told Meech, I'm not coming back in. But obviously, there's going to be something that gets him to get back involved. And again, I want to see how that plays out as well. But I just think there's a lot of possibilities. And yes, this actor did a fantastic job as Lamar Silas last season. So I feel like, yes, he had to return, and it made sense for him to return. So what it means, I do agree with what Dana said. A lot of stuff is going to be up in the air as far as fear once people find out. And that's what I also want to see. The moment when people find out that he's back, especially Meech, because he thinks that this guy is dead. So I can't wait to see how all of this plays out, for sure.